Joining me now is a welterweight veteran who takes on Ryan Quinn at Fight Night 2 coming up this weekend in Medicine Hat on October 28th. He is Matt MacGrath. Matt, how's it going?
How's it going tonight, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. Thank you very much for taking the time. So first off, it seems like since your last fight earlier this year against Jesse Ronson, it seems like everything has been falling apart as far as opportunities to possibly fight these UFC veterans, possibly fight on bigger shows than you have been your last few fights. Firstly, I know you told me a few months ago that you tentatively agreed to fight Ben Saunders on a card. That ended up not happening. Ben Saunders fought someone else and has since then been re-signed with the UFC. So sort of clarify there, how close were you to actually fighting Saunders, and do you have any reason why at all that fight didn't happen?
I really have no idea. The promotion gave me the name and contract, and we accepted, but I believe that he was already in negotiations with another promotion, but I can't say for sure. I don't know why it fell through. I certainly don't think a guy like Ben Saunders is ducking a fight. I just don't know if he committed 100%. That's all.
But you did actually, well, no contract obviously because you didn't agree, but were you in verbally?
I was, yeah.
All right, that's too bad, of course, because Ben Saunders, I know you've been fighting all these UFC veterans, and Ben Saunders would have just been another one on that list, so it would have been a great guy to fight and of course, win. You were also in talks with Bellator MMA, a very large organization, probably second to the UFC, of course, most people would agree with that. You were looking to fight on their September 16th card in Texas. You told me, though, last month or so, that they kind of clarified. Did they essentially just kind of stop replying to you? Did they kind of just like?
Well, it was through like a third party, and they kept saying no, we'll get an opponent. He's on the card, and then just nothing. It was just getting I was wanting to know, like, if I got a fight, the days of me taking a fight on 2 days or weeks notice are kind of over. I'm being successful because I'm putting in full camp. I wasn't finding out soon enough, so I was just like, even if they call back with a week or 2 weeks notice, then I'm not in. So it's just kind of nothing transpired there. I am definitely interested in any of the bigger promotions, but right now Ryan Quinn's in my sights.
And at that time, how much did you care that Bellator kind of just put you off the side and stopped negotiating with you?
We actually never negotiated on a contract or anything, but it was just through a contact of mine, one of my boxing coach's contact, and it just never really seemed to transpire. If it, whatever, another fight will come up, and it did. So yeah, just got to stay positive and keep trucking. I've been around long enough to not let stuff like that bother me.
Sure, and I imagine that you haven't talked to Bellator since then.
No, I haven't. It's always been through a third party, so
Okay.
I haven't. No, I got this fight. I've been focused on this fight, so.
And like you said, you are set to fight Ryan Quinn. However, you told me again that you're supposed to fight Brian Cobb. Do you have any idea why that fell apart? Did Brian get hurt? Did he actually never sign a contract? Do you have any idea what happened there? Why you're not fighting Brian Cobb on this Fight Night 2 card?
I did get a contract for Brian Cobb. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I just know my end. We accepted the fight when we were in and everything, and then it fell through. Cobb was out, but they had an opponent all along. Fight Night, it's been really good. They've been positive, and they said I'm on the card 100%. So I had a good feeling. They picked Ryan Quinn, an ATT veteran, and I that's a really solid gym, and I felt I had a good feeling. I figured this was the guy.
At least you did clarification. It would have been pretty terrible if you signed a contract and then ended up yourself not being on the card. But like you said, let's move on to the fights that are for sure happening. You're fighting Ryan Quinn this weekend. You mentioned he's an ATT guy, of course training at one of the best gyms in the world. What do you know about him particularly, and how do you think you match up against him?
I think I match up fantastic against him. I think probably our wrestling's a bit of a wash. He tends to have a very a grindy wrestling style, style of fighting. He likes to grind a bit. He's not afraid to come forward, and he'll throw that kind of big right hand. He throw a number of left hooks in lots of his fights. But as far as putting his striking together, he's definitely more of a on top grappler, wrestler, looking to kind of take me down and control me on the ground there. Yeah, I think I match up great. I mean, I have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, judo black belt, a long time, competitive, and my wrestling's pretty good too. It's kind of he reminds me of me, only I have more than he has, I feel like. So I think I have a lot of ways to finish this fight. So I'm really hoping to finish this fight. It'll be good. It'll be 9 wins in a row, and regardless, I'm looking for the W. But I'd love to get the finish.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to ask you about getting the finish in this fight, perhaps, because will you be going for the finish maybe even more than usual in this fight, just because you're on an 8-fight winning streak, and it seems like, going by your record, that you should be already signed. But I know some people that I talked to, some people that I know have said that the only reason you're not in the UFC, the only reason UFC hasn't contacted you, is that you haven't finished fights. A lot of yours have gone to the judges. So for that reason, in an attempt to get signed to the UFC easier, are you going to be looking for the finish even more than usual? You're always looking for the finish, but will you be going out there with a fire under your butt and really going for the knockout or submission?
Yeah, I think, well, like always, I got to get the W first, but I think that there'll be lots of opportunities for me to finish this fight. So I think, I'm feeling great. I'm fit as always, and I think I have a number of different ways to finish this fight, and I'll be going for the finish. So, some of my last 8 wins haven't been finishes, but it's also pretty high level competition. Fighting guys like Jesse Ronson, Mark Holst, and Michael Hill. They're not easy guys to finish, and I don't know if any of them have been finished. So, they want you to fight harder opponents, and I do that, and I get the win, and so. But it doesn't bother me. One round at a time, one win at a time, and I'll get there.
And what are your thoughts on your chances of still signing with the UFC? You're already 36 years old, so, I mean, they like to go after the younger guys in their mid-20s, still really coming up. But as I said, you're on an 8-fight winning streak. They can't keep denying you. At least that's how I feel. What are your thoughts on your chances of still making it to the UFC at this point?
I'm hanging on. I've had some offers in Europe, actually, and a couple of Russian promotions that were really good offers. But I'm kind of just waiting till this fight's over. But I think I still have a good chance. I could see me fighting for a few more years for sure. My body's healthy. I look after myself, and I train every day, lots of days, 2 or 3 times a day. So I think that what's brought me this far is my work ethic, and there's a lot of young guys in my gym, but not a lot that can keep up my pace, and I'm good with the age thing, because the more gray hairs on my chin when we square off, that it's just deceiving, because all of a sudden you get beat up by an old guy, right?
That's funny. Now, did you turn down those offers from the Russian organizations?
Well, I just I had turned them down in the summer simply because I had a number of deaths in my family. In the last 13 months, my mother, my father, my uncle, my grandfather all died. So, my last couple of fights, I had some pretty close family members pass away, and it was kind of right at that time that I was getting right at the time of 2 of my family's deaths. So I turned that down, but they had offered me again for the end of November this time, and I forwarded on to Rob, my manager. I said, I'm just focusing on this fight. I said, talk to Rob, and I want to get this fight out of the way. So.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that, of course, first off, about your family members passing away in the past year or so. Now you mentioned that you were offered to fight over in Russia in November. Have you heard anything since then?
No, this was fairly recent.
Okay.
It was in the last couple of weeks through Facebook, and I'm just training for this fight, focusing on this guy. So I forwarded the person back a message, and I said, Rob Beavers, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Get a hold of him. He's my manager, and we'll do. let's deal through him. I just want to focus on this fight. I'm just training now.
And which organization or organizations offered you?
There was two. I don't know. First fight was one of them at one point. And I'm not sure the other one right now. The guy, he was a good opponent. He was on a 10 or 12 fight winning streak. So, they're not going to take me over there to fight some, a new guy. They're going to take me over there to help their guy. So I got to be careful picking the fights.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of controversy regarding Russian MMA in the past year or two with Kadyrov. I can't tell you all the details about him. I would have to really research that. But there's a lot of controversy over there. Is that something you would be worried about?
Yeah, just a little concerned. We did look into the promotion first fight, and they were legit through British contact we had, and it wasn't that. It was just kind of more the time, and my mental status wasn't 100% at the time, and right now, I got to be honest, it makes me wonder, why there's got to be lots of good fighters over there, but maybe they're trying to make it the UFC too, and they got to beat up a good North American fighter, so first fight seemed like a really good promotion from what our research told us. So,
okay.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say.
Interesting. Well, this will be your first fight for the Fight Night organizations by Zed Promotions. Maybe it's still hard to tell because you haven't fought for them yet, but leading up to this fight, how have they treated you? Has it been all good with Fight Night?
Oh, yeah, it's been good. Ever since Ryan and I committed to the fight, everything's kind of been straight ahead. We both got our meds done, and just flights are in, and we'll be picking us up out west sometime Wednesday, and I assume weigh in Thursday and fight Friday. So I'm expecting to bring home another W and hopefully finish.
Awesome. Now, I'm sure you know or are quite aware of what happened with the Fight Night organization in January. They were supposed to fight in Alberta. I believe the day of the weigh-ins or the day of the actual card, it was scrapped. There was a lot of controversy regarding that event as well. Are you worried about that happening again, or now that Fight Night has put on a couple consecutive shows without any issues, or so it seems anyway? Do you think all of those issues are kind of in the past now?
I think that this card is going to pull off. They have some big names in this card, and they pull things together, and I'm pretty confident it'll move forward. So, I'm putting my trust in my manager. So.
Awesome. Now, what are your thoughts on Georges St. Pierre recently declaring himself as a free agent, as a veteran in Canadian MMA? This could actually mean something to you and perhaps even be good to you, because if, say, GSP is in fact a free agent, maybe he signs with Bellator or another rival organization, they would likely come to Canada, because how can't you if you have GSP under your organization, and then that could lead to you fighting for a bigger organization, say Bellator, without leaving the country. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think, and I can't blame him. I don't know their business side of it so much. I had heard rumors that it had to do with sponsorships. He lost a fair bit of sponsorship opportunity because Reebok, and I think it's good if he signs with somewhere else and he comes back. Yeah, I like watching him fight. He's a great fighter.
But do you also think that could open some
opportunities
to you?
I think it's going to open up opportunities for more Canadian fighters for sure. There's not a whole lot of Canadian fighters in the Bellator organization. When I look through the roster, there's not. So, and that's because Bellator moves a lot within the continental U.S. So, having more shows in Canada, I think it's great. It opens up opportunities for a lot of fighters.
Absolutely, and even if they don't get GSP, even if GSP is still with the UFC and he wasn't accurate with his claims, Bellator still has Rory McDonald, and it sounds like they will be coming up to Canada. So even without Georges St. Pierre, it seems like the opportunities could be increasing for guys like yourself, Canadian MMA fighters. Now, my last question for you, Matt, is how do you defeat Ryan Quinn on October 28th?
How do I defeat him? I think I'm going to get a submission or a TKO in the second or third round.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you very much for taking time. As always, it's a great time chatting with you. If there's anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to, and let my audience know where they can find you on social media.
I'd like to, thank my wife Melanie and key children for their patience as always. I'm gone a lot, training, working, and my whole team here at Wolford MMA, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu PEI, and all my training partners, and all my sponsors. Thanks everybody. And I'm on I'm Matt MacGrath fan club on Facebook. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, so I'm easy to find.